John Herbert Dillinger, a name etched in the annals of American crime, was born on June 22, 1903, in Indianapolis, Indiana. His life would become a symbol of rebellion and defiance against the established order. His early life was, well, a study in contrasts. The era itself was a time of great change and contradiction, with rapid industrialization juxtaposed against traditional values. He was the son of a strict, devoutly religious father and a doting mother who instilled in him a love for music and baseball. This duality in his upbringing would shape his complex personality.
John, you must always follow the righteous path. Remember, the world is full of temptations, but you must stay true to your faith. Remember, hard work and faith will guide you. These principles are your compass in a world full of uncertainty.
John's childhood was marked by both mischief and a strong moral compass, a duality that would later define his criminal career. He was often caught between the strict moral teachings of his father and the more lenient, loving guidance of his mother. The Dillinger family faced financial struggles, forcing them to relocate to the outskirts of Indianapolis when John was a teenager. This move was not just a change of scenery, but a significant turning point in his life. This move proved pivotal, exposing him to a rougher side of life. The new neighborhood was a far cry from the relatively sheltered environment he had known.
I never thought I'd end up here, but, life has its way of pushing you into places you never imagined. Sometimes those places change you in ways you never expected.
John's rebellious streak, evident in his frequent clashes with authority at school, began to manifest in petty theft and vandalism. His actions were a cry for freedom, a way to assert his independence in a world that seemed increasingly restrictive. He dropped out of school, seeking solace in the pool halls and speakeasies that proliferated during the Prohibition era. These places offered him a sense of belonging and an escape from the rigid expectations of his upbringing. Despite his growing involvement in delinquency, Dillinger possessed an undeniable charm. His charisma drew people to him, making him a natural leader among his peers. He was known for his charisma and quick wit, traits that would later make him both feared and admired. These qualities allowed him to navigate the criminal underworld with ease. He was also a skilled athlete, excelling in baseball, a passion that provided a brief respite from his increasingly troubled life. The sport was a rare source of joy and normalcy for him.
Baseball was my escape. It was the one place where I felt truly free, where the troubles of the world seemed to melt away. For a while, it was just me, the bat, and the ball. Nothing else mattered. Those moments on the field were some of the few times I felt at peace.
However, the allure of easy money and the thrill of defying convention proved too strong for the young Dillinger to resist. The excitement of the criminal life was a powerful draw. His early brushes with the law were a harbinger of the notoriety that awaited him. These initial encounters with the justice system set the stage for his future as one of America's most infamous criminals. In 1924, at the age of 21, John Dillinger's life took a decisive turn towards criminality. It was a time of great change and turmoil in America, and Dillinger, like many young men of his era, found himself at a crossroads. Driven by youthful bravado and a desire for quick riches, he participated in the armed robbery of a local grocery store. The allure of easy money and the thrill of rebellion against societal norms were too tempting to resist. The heist, poorly planned and executed, ended in disaster. The lack of experience and foresight led to a swift and chaotic downfall. Dillinger was apprehended and sentenced to a 10 to 20-year term at the Indiana State Reformatory. A harsh sentence that left an indelible mark on the young man. The weight of the law came crashing down on him, altering the course of his life forever.
That sentence, it felt like the end of the world. But, it was just the beginning. It was in those bleak prison walls that I found a new purpose, a new direction.
Prison life proved to be a brutal awakening for Dillinger. The daily grind, the oppressive environment, and the constant threat of violence took their toll. The harsh conditions, coupled with the company of hardened criminals, hardened his resolve and fueled his resentment towards authority. The camaraderie among inmates was built on shared suffering and mutual distrust of the system. He befriended seasoned convicts who schooled him in the finer points of crime, teaching him the art of safecracking and the importance of meticulous planning. These lessons were invaluable, providing him with the skills he would later use to orchestrate his infamous heists. Dillinger, always a quick study, absorbed these lessons with an eagerness that alarmed even his fellow inmates. His transformation from a naive young man to a calculating criminal was swift and unsettling.
Prison was my university. I learned more about crime in there than I ever did on the streets. Every day was a lesson, every inmate a teacher.
Despite the grim reality of his incarceration, Dillinger never relinquished his dream of freedom. The thought of escape was a constant companion, a beacon of hope in the darkness. He spent countless hours devising escape plans, his mind constantly churning with possibilities. Each plan was more elaborate than the last, a testament to his growing ingenuity and desperation. He also nurtured a deep-seated anger towards the law enforcement officials who had put him behind bars, vowing revenge upon his eventual release. This anger became a driving force, fueling his determination to break free and exact his retribution. The seeds of Dillinger's transformation from a small-time crook into a ruthless criminal mastermind were sown during his years of confinement. The prison system, intended to reform, instead became a breeding ground for his criminal ambitions. His time in prison, intended to rehabilitate him, instead forged him into a hardened criminal, ready to unleash his fury upon the outside world. The weight of the law had not broken him. It had remade him into something far more dangerous. Upon his release from prison in 1933, after serving 9 years of his sentence, Dillinger was a changed man. The years behind bars had hardened him, transforming him from a naive young man into a seasoned criminal mastermind. Gone was the impetuous youth who had stumbled into a life of crime. In his place stood a hardened, calculating criminal, driven by a thirst for revenge and an insatiable appetite for wealth. His time in prison had not been wasted. He had learned from the best, absorbing knowledge and techniques that would serve him well in his future endeavors. In his place stood a hardened, calculating criminal, driven by a thirst for revenge and an insatiable appetite for wealth. He quickly reconnected with his former cellmates, many of whom had also recently been released. These were men who shared his disdain for the system and his desire for retribution. Together, they began assembling a gang of like-minded individuals, each bringing their own unique skills to the table. This was the beginning of what would become one of the most notorious criminal alliances in American history.
John, it's good to see you out. We have some unfinished business to take care of. The time has come to make our mark.
The Dillinger Gang, as it came to be known, was a formidable force in the American underworld. Comprised of skilled gunmen, getaway drivers, and safecrackers, the gang embarked on a crime spree that terrorized the Midwest. They targeted banks, seeing them as symbols of the corrupt financial system that had plunged the nation into the Great Depression. Each heist was meticulously planned, with every member knowing their role to perfection. They targeted banks, seeing them as symbols of the corrupt financial system that had plunged the nation into the Great Depression. Their actions were not just about the money. They were making a statement against the institutions that had failed so many. Dillinger, with his charisma and audacity, became the face of the gang. His ability to command attention and inspire loyalty made him a natural leader. His name was whispered in both fear and admiration. To some, he was a ruthless criminal. To others, he was a modern-day Robin Hood.
We're not just robbing banks. We're hitting back at a system that's failed us all. This is our way of fighting back.
What set the Dillinger Gang apart from their contemporaries was their meticulous planning and military-like precision. Every detail was considered, every possible outcome anticipated. Dillinger, having learned from his past mistakes, insisted on thorough reconnaissance and carefully orchestrated getaways. He knew that the key to their success lay in their ability to outthink and outmaneuver the authorities. He drilled his men relentlessly, instilling in them a sense of discipline and professionalism that was rare among criminal gangs of the era. This rigorous training paid off as they executed their heists with precision and efficiency. The gang's success rate was astonishing, their daring heists captivating the public imagination. Each successful operation only added to their legend. Their daring heists captivated the public imagination, turning them into folk heroes for some. They were seen as rebels who dared to challenge the status quo, and making them folk heroes to some. Their story became a symbol of defiance and resistance, resonating with those who felt betrayed by the system. Section 4, Master of Escape, Outwitting the System. John Dillinger's legend was cemented by his uncanny ability to escape from seemingly impenetrable prisons. His escapes, often daring and meticulously planned, became the stuff of legend, further fueling his notoriety and capturing the public's fascination.
Each successful escape chipped away at the facade of law and order, making me a symbol of defiance against an oppressive system.
His most audacious escape occurred in March 1934 from the Lake County Jail in Crown Point, Indiana. Using a cleverly crafted wooden gun, Dillinger bluffed his way past numerous guards, taking several hostages in the process. He then commandeered the sheriff's brand new Ford V8, a powerful and coveted vehicle at the time, and made his getaway, leaving a trail of bewildered lawmen in his wake.
My escapes, while audacious, were not merely feats of bravado. They were a testament to my meticulous planning, my ability to exploit weaknesses in security systems, and my unwavering self-belief.
He studied blueprints, bribed guards, and utilized disguises, always staying one step ahead of his pursuers. His escapes, widely reported in newspapers and radio broadcasts, turned him into a national anti-hero, a symbol of cunning and daring in an era marked by economic hardship and social unrest. Section 5, Public Enemy Number 1, A Nation on Edge. John Dillinger's reign of crime coincided with a period of great social and economic upheaval in America. The Great Depression had gripped the nation, leaving millions unemployed and disillusioned with the government. Against this backdrop of despair, Dillinger's exploits took on a Robin Hood-esque quality, his daring heists seen by some as a blow against the wealthy and powerful.
As my notoriety grew, so too did the pressure on law enforcement to apprehend me.
The FBI, then a fledgling agency under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover, made capturing Dillinger its top priority. Hoover, eager to prove the agency's worth, poured resources into the manhunt, utilizing the latest forensic techniques and employing a network of informants.
Dillinger's face, plastered on wanted posters across the country, became synonymous with the burgeoning gangster era.
The media frenzy surrounding Dillinger's exploits only added to his mystique. Newspapers chronicled his every move, often sensationalizing his crimes and portraying him as a larger-than-life figure.
I became a shrewd manipulator of the press, playing into this image, cultivating an air of invincibility, and even sending staged photographs of myself to reporters.
He became a cultural phenomenon, his name synonymous with daring, rebellion, and the allure of the outlaw life.